All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll get started in our press conference. We'll start with Darren Wolfson today.
Coach, always appreciate your time. Good morning. How about just an update on Brandon Johnson?
Good morning. We will give him a look today in practice. I think it's day by day, I'd say for sure. There certainly is a chance he could play tomorrow. He has not practiced yet. So we'll just give him a look today and kind of go day by day. But, it's nothing, it's a lot, it sounds weird, but a better injury than we thought it would be. It doesn't seem to be as bad. And he seems, very, very confident that it's getting better. So we'll give it a look today in practice and see.
Other questions for Coach? Andy Greeter, go ahead.
Hey, Richard, I know that you talked about, maybe wanting to not look ahead to the Big Ten schedule, just given how daunting it was. What can you say just about this start and then maybe how it might even out later on? I know every night's a challenge, but.
Well, I would hope that everybody feels it's a challenge to play us. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Like, I don't really look at the schedule much. I mean, it happens every single year. Hey, the first couple of games are tough. I don't ever remember a Big Ten game being easy. I just don't. I think the coaching is too good. I think the players are too smart and too good and too tough. The stakes are obviously very, very high in every single game. So it's to me, everything evens out if you're consistent with what it is that you're doing. I like where we sit right now. I know we have a long, long way to go. And there's no greater lesson during a pandemic than to just take it day by day. And so the goal right now is get better today, prepare for Illinois, and go from there. So like I said, I mean, I think all of these games are hard, but I also hope that they think playing us is hard as well.
Marcus Fuller, we'll have you go next.
Coach, last year you had a tough non-conference schedule going into the Big Ten with all those road games, and you played at home so far this year. So it's your first road test. Can you talk about just the challenge of that going into?
Well, the reason why we did that is we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've always scheduled very, very tough. We were going to play Marquette and Mohegan Sun. We were, depending on who the winner, we were going to play a tough game there. We were going to play Mississippi State at home. So we're in the middle of a pandemic. So let's make sure that we understand why the schedule is the way it is. I didn't think it made much sense making a schedule where you're traveling all over the place in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a non-conference. We're playing on the road. We're not playing in front of any fans. It's totally different. We're having a meeting talking about, meal tonight and how we can't eat together as a team. I mean, there's so many things that are totally different than what you normally would go through. I haven't been on a plane in 9 months. It's crazy. These guys haven't. So, it's just a different experience. It's not even close to normal. Let's make sure that we get there safely, because we're kind of getting out of our bubble a little bit. Get into that building, get some shots up tomorrow. And, when the game starts, execute the best we possibly can.
Next up, we'll have Jeff Wall from Fox 9.
Good morning, Richard. Kind of expanding on that, just what are some of the logistical challenges of traveling for your first conference game amid a pandemic? And when do you get the testing done to make sure your kids are clear? Just kind of go through some of that stuff.
There's a million challenges that everybody's dealing with. I've said it a million times. I mean, it's not just us. I'm answering your question. I don't want to sound insensitive to what you're going through. We're all going through a million challenges. It's not going to be normal. The biggest thing is that we do it safely, but there's going to be some uniqueness to what it is that we're doing. Like I said, for your meals, normally we have a routine of eating together as a team, maybe taking them out to eat, watching, totally different. So it's just about the safety more than anything. I mean, we're trying to pull off sports in a pandemic, and as much as we want it to be competitively equitable, safety is the number one most important thing. And, luckily we have people through our administration and everywhere else in the Big Ten that are all in this thing together.
Marcus Fuller, back to you.
So a basketball question. Seems like the past couple games, you see more balance in the offense with Liam kind of getting going inside, and then obviously, you're getting some scoring from Booth as well as Marcus.
Yeah, I think it's going to take time. I think our chemistry on the court is going to take time. We have the six new players. That's the second most in the Big Ten. Nebraska's got 11. We got 6. And, 4 of those guys are playing big minutes. Takes time. You don't have a summer. You don't have a traditional fall. You have to pause. It takes time. And that trust has got to be developed on the court. And it's just, you rep it out every single day. And where, okay, I know if I run this ball screen, so-and-so is going to dive hard, or maybe he's going to short roll because he has a tendency to do that. Or that just takes time. But certainly we want balance. We don't want one guy having to be relied on over and over again to score. We want to be able to read, take what the defense gives us offensively. We want to be connected defensively, rebounding the basketball. And every day is an opportunity to build that trust.
We'll go back to Darren Wolfson.
Richard, how good is Illinois?
Very, very talented, very well coached. They play hard. They're tough. Io's one of the best players in the league. Kofi's one of the best players in the league. They've got terrific parts around them. Frazier he was maybe their best player a couple years ago. You can't sleep on him. They've got, really good young guys. Georgie, he could be one of the best bigs on any other team in the Big Ten. So they've got a great identity of toughness. They're physical. They've got great weapons, and they're well coached. So, there's a reason why a lot of people have picked them to, be at the top of the Big Ten. So it's a huge challenge for us, with a lot of unique opportunities in front of us.
Andy Greeter, you're up next.
Richard, can you give us an update on Trey? I know he took maybe a shot to the leg there. And then just kind of what is he showing as far as maturity from last year?
Yeah, he seems better. He took a pretty big shot there, and he was moving around pretty well in practice yesterday. But like anything else, it's how do you work out, you get loose, do you stiffen up, and just, we'll see today. With Trey, he's got so many great qualities. Competes his butt off. He wants to win. He's confident. He's got great belief in himself. Phenomenal qualities. Now it's a matter of figuring that out in the college game, where to do what and so on. But when you got the qualities that he has, you're giving yourself a chance to succeed. So he's a fun kid to coach. He brings great energy every single day. He brings great confidence and competitiveness. He's just one of those guys you love having on your team.
Any other questions for Coach? Jeff Wald, go ahead.
I just had one follow-up. Richard, have you learned anything, whether it be from PJ and the football team or maybe another coach or another program that you've had at Williams Arena this year, just about what it's going to take to be able to successfully travel, for games this year?
No, PJ's got so many more players than we do. He's got a bigger group than we do. I think the one thing that we all got to realize is if somebody gets it, it doesn't automatically mean they did something wrong. What we're trying to do is very, very difficult, but I think it beats the alternative. There's a lot of talk about don't play, push it back. My dad's been one of the most vocal guys about that. And he has a pretty good opinion. I don't agree with it, but he's not crazy to think it. It's the bottom line is, can we pull it off safely? It's not going to be competitively equitable. What football did, football took 2 weeks off and then goes and plays at Nebraska. They played great, but that's really, really hard. I bet that was probably the toughest game PJ's ever coached in his life. So it's a very, very unique challenge. It's great for our players because they get out there and play. I told them over and over again, everybody's dealing with this. Everybody is dealing with disruption, and it sucks for everybody. But you know what? Our minds are the most clear when we're out there on the court. So I don't think there's one way to trick the system into, beating it. It's just, can you shrink your world as best as you possibly can? Obviously wear a mask as much as you can, and wash your hands and do those things. But also understand that, like, everything that we're doing, we will do for the health and safety of our players and our basketball program.
And then last question goes to Marcus Fuller.
I was just going to say quick, Coach, I don't know if you saw the Clippers playing preseason, but Daniel had his, NBA preseason debut. And obviously that's a big step for him moving forward. But
I didn't see it. I saw one of the clips on Twitter, but I mean, it's great for Amir and Daniel. It's back-to-back players that we've recruited out of this state who have left early to go to the NBA. I don't know when that's last happened at the University of Minnesota. So proud of both of those guys. But again, it's not over. We want you to be in the NBA for a long, long, long time. Happy for Daniel. I know he signed a deal. I want that second contract, that third contract. That's where the journey's just begun for those guys. It really has. I think they're both going to get better and better. I'm excited that they can kind of be in this journey together, which is always nice because you get to professional level, it kind of changes a little bit, and they'll be able to help each other out. But they're both great kids. They're both great representatives of the University of Minnesota, the state. They believed in us, and we're proud of them. So, their future is very, very bright, and we'll be cheering for them. Every game that's on TV, we're all going to be watching and rooting for them.
All right, that's all the time we have today for Coach. We'll have players coming up here shortly.
Thank you.